Hello, everybody. Philip Lee returning with another episode of Civil War Chat, and today is the 10th of March, Tuesday, 2021. Today, our topic is Stay South, Black Man, Stay South. While famously advising the ambitious, Go West, young man, go West, 19th century New York newspaper owner and abolitionist Horace Greeley was not addressing blacks. Although wanting blacks freed from slavery, like many Northerners, he also wanted them to stay in the South. The unoccupied West, said Greeley's New York Tribune, shall be reserved for the white Caucasian race. As Union armies advanced into the lower Mississippi River Valley during the Civil War, Greeley recommended that Southern farms be confiscated so that the lands could be given to blacks. Here's the key: in order to avoid a massive black migration into the North. Northern determination to keep blacks quarantined in the South is evident during the 19th century and much of the 20th centuries. Consider the antebellum period. In 1846, Congressman David Wilmot of Pennsylvania, who later became a Republican when that party was formed, introduced a bill to keep blacks out of the West, out of the lands west of Texas and the Missouri River. I make no war upon the South, nor upon slavery in the South. I have no sympathy for the slave. I plead the cause of white freemen. I would preserve for free white labor a fair country where the sons of toil of my own race and own color can live without the disgrace which the association with Negro slavery brings upon free labor. In 1854, future President Lincoln said, quote, the whole nation is interested that the best use shall be made of these Western territories. We want them for the homes of free white people, close quote. The year Lincoln was elected president in 1860, his future Secretary of State, William Seward, said, quote, the great fact is now fully realized that the African race here is a foreign element, incapable of assimilation, close quote, and basically incompatible with America's white future. 2 years earlier, Lincoln's fellow Illinois Republican Senator Lyman Trumbull said, and Trumbull was a good friend of Lincoln's, he said, quote, we, the Republican Party, are the white man's party, close quote. That same year, Massachusetts Republican Senator Henry Wilson said, quote, I do not believe in the equality of the African and the white race, close quote. Lincoln campaigner Francis P. Blair Jr. also said in 1860, we are the white man's party, close quote. Illinois Congressman and abolitionist Owen Lovejoy considered blacks to be inferior and thought America should be reserved for whites. Future Republican Governor of Illinois, John Palmer, said that blacks were destined for a future of racial and political inferiority. Similarly, in 1863, then Illinois Governor Richard Yates believed that he believed in black freedom in the South in order to rid the North of blacks. According to historian C. Van Woodward, the antebellum states of Ohio, Indiana, and Illinois set the racial norms for the future states as far west as the Missouri River and beyond. Quote, their chief argument against slavery in their region was that it would eventually produce a free black population, close quote. Yet the Midwestern region that elevated black exclusion to a top political issue never had more than 1% of its population composed as blacks, at least in the 19th century. Consequently, even the region's anti-slavery politicians revealed that they abhorred the presence of blacks. Ohio's Senator Ben Wade said, quote, We are to have no more slaves. If we are to have no more slave states, what in the devil are we to do with the surplus blacks? Close quote. But he did not use the term blacks. He used another word that is forbidden. Think about it. Illinois Senator Trumbull likewise stated, quote, our people want nothing to do with the Negro, close quote. Now, this time he did not use the derogatory term. This is Trumbull, not Yates. Lincoln's Treasury Secretary and future Chief Supreme Court Justice Salmon P. Chase asked Massachusetts political leader and General Butler, Benjamin Butler, quote, to see that the blacks of the North will slide southward and leave no question to quarrel about. In other words, Chase, an abolitionist from Ohio and then Supreme Court Justice, wanted the blacks out of the North after the war. Consistent with the Republican Party's official policy during the Civil War that free blacks should be deported, a number of Republicans openly avowed in Congress that deportation was partly motivated by desire to keep blacks out of the North. During the Civil War, Illinois rioted when Secretary of War Stanton tried to send some black refugees into the state to relieve a labor shortage. The Chicago Tribune angrily predicted that emancipation would send 2 to 3 million black, quote, semi-savages, close quote, into the North. Massachusetts abolitionist Governor Andrew likewise refused to accept a mere 500 black refugees from the South. After the war, Massachusetts Congressman Boutwell proposed that South Carolina and Florida be devoted exclusively to blacks. Postbellum Northerners intensified efforts to quarantine blacks in the South, thereby betraying their phony commitment to black civil rights, while trumpeting the Freedmen's Bureau as an enlightened example of federal commitment to racial progress. Modern historians fail to note that amendments to the bill for the formation of the Freedmen's Bureau that would have allowed the Bureau to distribute some workers into the northern states were defeated in the Senate. Those amendments enabling the Freedmen's Bureau to distribute some blacks into the states north of the Ohio River and the Mason-Dixon line, they were defeated in the Senate. Now, both Massachusetts Senators Wilson and Sumner, big abolitionists, big morally superior icons from America's past, both of them voted against the amendment that would let the Freedmen's Bureau send blacks to the North. They both did it, notwithstanding that both are regarded as staunch abolitionists and heroes by today's modern historians. I could go on and on with this, but we'll pause to provide an example of how narrative trumps facts, which is the case in the matter of Northern racism. And it is the case in the matter of Southern Reconstruction in the hands of today's academic historians. No doubt many of you recognize that Rosa Parks is famous for refusing to change her seat on a Montgomery, Alabama bus in the 1950s, thereby starting a boycott that led the bus service to abandon their segregation policy. But what has slipped the news is that in 1994, when Rosa Parks was 81 years old, she was beaten, mugged, and robbed of $101 by a black assailant. Notwithstanding that black on black crime is statistically the far greater danger for African Americans, academics, social justice warriors, and the media wish us to think that anti-black police brutality is the major issue. The same applies to other aspects of American history. If it does not fit the agenda of the dominant political party and their allies in the media and academia, it essentially never happened. And that's why we're getting such a distorted story of Southern history today, 2021. Now, if you want to respond, one way to do this is to read this book. Come on. U.S. Grant's Failed Presidency by Philip Lee. Me. You can get it for $20 at Amazon, Barnes & Noble, other fine bookstores. If you want an autographed copy and you're here in the States, I'll sell you one for $25. You just contact me, Phil, P-H-I-L _Lee, L-E-I-G-H @me.com. If you live here in the States, I will cover the postage for that $25. And okay, that's our show for today. And thanks for watching.